Today we're going to be reviewing the Kickstarter for Terragon Terrain by Babbletree Productions. Terragon Terrain is a modular magnetic gaming tile system that Corey over at Babbletree Productions was nice enough to send me 300 different tiles to try out for a few months before their Kickstarter actually launched. They also sent me a bunch of different papers and pamphlets to show off at my local game store, but then the pandemic hit, so yeah, I haven't really done anything with those. As far as what Terragon Terrain actually is, being that it's a modular gaming tile, it's basically supposed to replace the map that goes down at the bottom of wherever you're doing your normal TTRPG play. The dimensions of these hexagons are 1.5 inch to 1.5 inch from flat side to flat side. The ones that I got to test were 3D printed, so they're smooth on one side and rough on another. I don't imagine that's going to be the case in the final product since they're going to be injection molded. I bet they're just going to be smooth all over. I don't know if that's good or bad for you. The big selling point with their modularity is being able to connect at any angle on any different tile. You don't have to have them any one certain way because they're hexagons. They can connect with the magnets that are inside them on any of their 6 flat faces. And that works for top and bottom. You can flip them over, it doesn't matter, they're going to be able to connect every single time. Now for my testing, they sent me 50 of the water tiles, 50 of the rock tiles, and then 100 of the stone and forest tiles. So I got to do quite a lot of it. However, I will say, I'm in love with these things, and I want about 1,000 more. I want to go big, high scale with these things. Preemptively, I'm going to say I really like this Kickstarter, and I'm going to be a backer because I just want more of them. You can see here, I'm just playing around with it the first time I opened it, and immediately I have this awesome 3D river scene that all I got to do is add just a few minis to, and I've suddenly brought this scene to life instead of just drawing on a map and saying, yeah, that little blue line right there, that's totally a river. Or even worse, if you make a whole epoxy or resin river, well, they may be immersed that one time, but all your rivers are going to look the exact same moving forward. With this, none of my rivers will ever look the same because I can make them modular. So instead of just saying, here's what's good about it and here's what's bad about it, let me show you what I really like about these things and what I don't like about them. When putting something together with Terragon Terrain, it's really fast. Normally, you have to draw something out on a map, or if you don't do that ahead of time, you have to tell your players to wait while you set up your map. Honestly, I like involving my players with this. So you can see in about 8 minutes here, I was able to create a river with a stone bridge with a waterfall in the end where my players are fighting a drake and a bear off to the side. If I involve my players into that and say, hey, why don't you all make me a river with a waterfall towards the end and a bridge towards it while I'm setting up the stat blocks, they can be playing essentially with Legos. Sometimes they like that more than actually playing the game. I've been able to test this thing since May and we have had an absolute blast with it. Taking it apart is also super duper fast since they're all magnetic. They just kind of stack up and they're ready to be used for the next encounter. Where I think they really shine is incorporating real buildings into your now 3D map topography. Because they're so large, they don't make for great buildings on their own unless you're talking mega structures like castles or keeps, because you can make some awesome looking ramparts out of these things. But like this little gate that I'm using here, I am now making a ramp up to the gate to where the players are either going to be attacking or defending this gate, and you can see that it is up on top of this hill that they're going up against now. If I just tried to do that on a flat map, that is really hard to convey. It just turned your map battle against a keep into the true map battle against the Viking lord who is on top of so-and-so mountain who wields an axe of thunder. Your players really start to feel that when they have to actually climb up on this terrain. Or heck, I don't know, you're going against some bad guys who brought their own siege tower and wheeled it all the way up the mountain. It shows their determination. I don't know, you're just limited by your own creativity. Again, this is super duper easy to take down. After setting that whole thing up in 10 minutes, it's done in 3 minutes and ready to go. Something else I found out, or should I say Rybowife found out because we play with these things like Legos sometimes, is you can make really awesome traps out of these things. Because they're made with magnets and their whole functionality is magnets, they'll actually hold themselves up without anything underneath. So let me give you an example. We have the ultimate Viking with the thunder axe. He's back at it again against Samantha, the bad bitch of the West. As she walks over to fight him, she steps on his trap here. And now if you have your players actually walk over these tiles and step on each one, they can suddenly be surprised by this lava trap that shoots up, or maybe he has a rune waiting there and as she steps on it, boom, suddenly wall of fire. It doesn't even have to just be that low, you can have them even higher to make really convincing pit traps as they fall into them. Okay, so maybe role-playing games aren't your thing, maybe wargaming is more your shtick. So these actually make for great map making systems for wargaming as well. Say you're playing like 40K or Age of Sigmar. Well, now you can have a different map every single time instead of investing in a huge table that you can only get one map out of because you spent spent so much time making a big foam table that's all for Nagash's warriors, or even some warriors of chaos. Well, now you can just change up what's underneath, and you can have very themed battles. This one here looks like a bunch of tribesmen are fighting some civilized people with actual houses right across the road. I don't know why they built just right across the road, but they did, and now they're mad about it, so they're fighting. To me, it just looks way cooler than drawing on a map or even 2D modular dungeon tiles. Look, even the ghost is impressed. While I'm building an awesome river bridge scene, let me talk about what I don't like about these. And it's not much, honestly. The only things that I don't really like is sometimes the magnets don't really want to connect, and so you have to either turn them or flip them, but that's really very rare, and it kind of fixes itself on its own. The other thing is, if you want to do any sort of 3D terrain building out of these, you need a lot of them. I have 300 of them, and I'm still not able to make as large of an area as I would really like. But if the problem is that I just want more of them, that's not a huge problem. Another thing that is both kind of good and bad, depending on who you would probably ask, is a lot of people put little washers under their minis so that they're weighted down to the bottom. Well, that's great on normal things, but because they're magnetic, they stick to the bottom. I like them because it helps my minis not tip over all that often, but it does force your minis over into the corner of the tiles because that's where the magnets are. After I learned about that though, I actually added a lot of washers to my terrain because I have a lot of tall terrain like this where it's just trees that like to fall over, and the magnets help things not just accidentally fall over if somebody accidentally shifts the table, because these things are prone to falling over on their own. Now, they're not like amazingly powerful magnets to where it'll never happen, but it definitely prevents it from happening a lot more often. All in all, I really love these things, and they're a staple part of my table now. I just need to get a lot more of them. I've actually been upset because I've had these things for about 5 months now, and whenever we play, we take pictures of when we play, and I like to post them on Twitter and Instagram, but I haven't been able to do that lately because this has been kind of a secret project. Do you know how cool it would have been to be able to show some of the super awesome fights and setups we had with this over the last few months? I have been wanting to tweet and Instagram about this for so long, but either way, that's neither here nor there. So if you're interested in Terragon Terrain, the official Kickstarter launches Wednesday on September 30th, 2020, and I'll put a link to that in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you would use a system like this in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what other people think of a modular system like this. I had a lot of fun with it, so obviously I'm into it. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this video, or if you might want to learn how to make dice from scratch, because that's predominantly what we do here on the channel, is we make dice and other tabletop DIY stuff. Thank you again so much for watching. I hope that you have a fantastic day.